how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And just talking about the first time we met, and we've been lucky enough to work with the wonderful Tina Lee of Opera Circus, and the work of Nigel Osborn and Ariel Dorfman.
Yeah. A man of words.
Yes, a man of many words. So, and that was on Nachiketa, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Workshops at Opera North, and then the Claw Studio presentation.
Yes, I forgot about that. Yeah, absolutely.
And we did some really cool sort of shows for just people in their houses. I remember.
Yes,
I remember even this fabulous white dress, just kind of, just really kind of being amazing. Do you remember those?
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm only just remembering them now because of what you said. Morning, Lena. Nice to see you. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. Every time somebody comes on here, and I just kind of, see everybody's memories, and they remind me. I got reminded the other day that I'd done BVs for Rick Astley.
Wow. Oh, brilliant.
And I remember it so well because the women in the audience were throwing their knickers at him.
Nice.
Nigel Osborn's work is just, I mean, laughing aside, like his work is just so incredible.
Oh, it's phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that later.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, we're just so lucky. But it's 9:01. So good morning, everybody, and happy bank holiday. Lovely to have you here. I am Nadine Benjamin, and I am the Intuitive Verdi Soprano. I am a certified NLP mind coach. I'm a certified high performance coach, and I am a healer. And I just love it. I love championing and celebrating and just connecting people. And I'm an opera singer, and I love singing all around the world. And it's just such a pleasure to be here with you this morning, and such a pleasure to champion and celebrate Loré Lixenberg.
Oh, hello.
Oh, no, you're incredible. So Loré Lixenberg studied with Woolwich and Vors and Saxton, also masterclasses with Peter Maxwell Davies, having gone on to study singing with Powell, Mason, Izep and Vishnevskaya. She went on to apply bel canto singing to comedy, physical theatre and free improv with Simon Munnery, Richard Thomas, Stuart Lee, Complicité and Simon McBurney. She has performed internationally on concert platforms and galleries, in operas and in new installations and vocal performances with experimental visual and sound artists like Stellark, Bruce McLean, Orlan and David Toop. Thank you so much for being here, Loré. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
So as I normally say, everybody, Loré and I, neither of us are medical doctors or psychiatrists. So please, 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 if you need that kind of help or support, please get it, because it's so important, especially at this time. And if you know anybody that needs support in getting that help, please pick up the phone to them and let them know that you need them and that you're right by their side, because we really, really encourage it. So, Loré, lovely to have you here. Morning, Susan. Lovely to see you. Really lovely to see you, and really lovely to have you here. And you're fascinating. And I just would love to know, how did you find your way into contemporary music?
Well, contemporary music sort of found me in a way, and I mean, it's just like I don't remember not being a focus, and it's that usual thing of like, I went to this school which I had a teacher there called Carol Ellefson at the time, now Carol Elphick, and she was kind of crazy about everything contemporary. Not just that, but she was a singer in her own right. She had she still has a fantastic voice, and so she initiated lots and lots of school projects. So, I mean, and also coming from a basically continental family, like my mum's Austrian, so music was always in the house. And So it was really kind of in the air, and I kind of just absorbed it, I think. And I've always had a fascination for new, innovative things. And so that really went for music, and a kind of a curiosity about what's next and what does this do and how does this work. So that's sort of why I was interested in it. And yeah, I don't remember a time when it wasn't part of my life. That's basically it.
Because you're very brave in expressing yourself, you know, around the art form in itself. I mean, how did that happen? Is it because it's that thing that is just a part of your bloodstream, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a kind of eternal burning curiosity, and also kind of a curse of really wanting to get to the bottom of something. And wanting to find out what motivates somebody to write something, why does this form exist, how does it come to be what it is. I can never just accept something as it is, and I envy people who can do that, because I think it probably is, life's probably a bit easier.
So it's almost like, because, you know, I'm a coach, and I always say that you need to be the scientist of your mind.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like the scientist of music. I love it.
Yeah, it feels that way. And and in fact, the degree I went on to do is at City University. It was a Bachelor of Science in Music, and because you could take options like sound recording and psychology of music. And personally, if I was to design a course, whatever the focus of that course was, I would do a module on psychoacoustics, because I think it's really important, like the effect that, as we're going to talk about with Nigel Osborn and his app for the NHS, blah blah blah. Because I think it's a really I just think every musician needs to have a kind of a floating awareness of it, and of the work that's been done on it. So
wow. So you work with a lot of living composers.
Yes.
Yeah, like lots of living. So how do you deal with each new composer, their way of working, their work? How do you get around that?
Well, it's kind of it's just a process of, often they just send you a score and you just have to work out what it is they want. And so you've got composers who just use standard notation, and, you know, there might be the occasional like misspelling, so you just need to sort that out. And then you need to find out what motivates them and their. So for instance, somebody like not Nigel, but a younger Osborn, who wrote a piece called The Mother, and I just needed to find out what it was kind of like quite fascinating what psychology lay behind that particular piece, you know. And then each composer's got their own language, so I suppose it's like learning different dialects of a language. But then you've got like the kind of weirdy brigade who, and that's a terrible expression to use, but the ones who like extended vocals, and then maybe they're not familiar with a standard extended vocal notation, and then you have to work out, well, are they interested in learning that, or have they got their own thing which works just as well, just as valid? And that's how notation develops anyway. So then you just have to work out what it is that they want, you know. So it's really, but to me, you know, all composers are living.
Yes.
Even the dead one. I mean, they're all alive. You it's a process of, like, you have to sort of ask them, even though they're dead, what they wanted.
Yes,
like, what do you want from me, Beethoven? Hey, Bach, what about this phrase? What about it?
I think it's really interesting that you talk about, you know, that we have these wonderful new composers that are, you know, but that some of them are not used to composing for voice.
Yes.
When they compose for voice, it's sometimes not in the right space. I mean, I remember having that experience.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I mean, I got given like 17 top C's in a piece that lasted like 45 minutes or something, and you're just, you know, that's supposed to be a climax, you know. You know
what the trick is? Don't tell them you're a soprano, because the minute they hear soprano, they just kind of like put everything above the stave. It's really weird. Even if you're a mezzo, they put everything above the. No, I'm teasing. This is kind of like weird. It's like higher, faster, louder.
Yes. But it is interesting, isn't it, that it's, you know, that composing is just as well as singing is another complex art form. You know, you have to be really considerate of vowels if you're going to include singers, and you know, in order for them to get the best and to show the best of your work.
Yeah, I mean, 100% that the composers need to bear in mind the singer they're working with, because also every singing instrument is different and offers different things, you know. So it's in their interest, in the interest of the piece, and certainly if a composer is writing in a sort of neoclassical kind of quite 20th century, early 20th century way, they need to kind of bear that kind of thing in mind. So to sum that sentence up, if they want text to be heard, there are certain things they need to bear in mind. But if the text is not an issue, like a narrative text or something, then, you know, it doesn't matter so much.
Yeah, but even so, we do have to do our best to encourage new music as well, don't we?
Yeah, I think it's really important. It's like the lifeblood of I mean, not to say that old music isn't, because I do think that old music is, and I often think with old music, when I sort of think with some of the productions that happen of operas, that can you imagine if Bizet came and saw, like, he'd be like, can you imagine? He'd be over the moon, wouldn't he? He'd be like wetting himself, like, oh my God, but I died in poverty. Where's my royalties?
So true though, and many composers and artists have had that, you know, where their work becomes, you know, really popular after they've passed away. And you know, and as you say, it's up to us to really keep it alive and to stay in context with their frequency.
But exactly, staying in context with their frequency, keeping it alive. That's absolutely 100%. That's it. Bam. That's our duty to that music.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got this artist in creation number 7, and you've got this thing around voice party. Could you explain that for us?
Well, the voice party is kind of like kind of an octopus kind of multi entity. So it's a political party, and it's a music group, and it's an operatic form. So taking those things separately, the political party bit. So the world is in, how do I put this politely, flux.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of problems. And after the First World War, we had Dadaism. They kind of deconstructed they didn't do, like, they just did this amazing poetry, which was kind of like all that kind of sort of, and then you had the futurists before that. So that was like don't quote me on that. That was like but they kind of broke down the word, because words had been used to lie. And then after the Second World War, you get the letterists who use the form of letters, again taking them apart, and that was like Isidore Izu, and it's basically like people who had been persecuted in the Second World War. And it feels like that we're sort of like in a weird kind of a digital age, that it felt that this is a sort of an answer to it, because we need rules and laws which are more pure than a man can conceive, and music has its own beautiful rules which are very pure. And I just think that as a political party, my manifesto would be that we follow those rules as a society. That's it. So that's the voice party. And I've got a front bench. So I've got like the Minister for Fluids and Fluidity, which is like the Home Service, and that's Bill Banks-Jones. And I've got the Ministry for Vintage Clothing, which is all ecological farming, or things like, which is Heloise Werner. And I've got my treasurer, which is Natalie Raybould, and Elise Lorraine. So we're going to have our first party conference in Cornwall, if we can, this year. And we're going to basically go surfing with Bill, or learn how to. They all just go and drink, don't they? So we're going to go surfing. Or do they? I don't know. What do they do?
So it's about, the kind of the voice political part of it.
Yeah.
Is about keeping music in the centre of our living circumstances.
Yes, so music becomes at the centre of society, and the rules of music are what society abide by, because it's like the idea of a republic where there's a law which is above the laws of men, that they're kind of like more pure and sort of generally better. That's the idea. Then as a music group, it's like a floating ensemble, and I did the first concert at the beautiful Wren Library in Cambridge, and we did 120 Days of Musica by composer Frederic Acquaviva, and it was like a quartet concert with sound guy and everything, and then also I'm very interested in what is operatic form doing now, because you've got your written on skins and you're kind of this, that and the other, which is great, don't get me wrong, ooh yeah, ooh, but it's also quite those operas are very 19th century still in their conception. I mean, you've even got like the 13-year-old heroine who has to be played by a singer in her mid-40s in order to get over the orchestra, which is kind of weird, which is kind of like, I mean, you know, you've got Salome, so Strauss did that in what was it, 1909 or something. So that kind of music is great, and anyone who wants to do it, amazing. But what I'm interested in is how can the operatic form how can it go forward and become like a 21st century thing? So like it was in Monteverdi's time, a kind of a new thing that really expressed the form of the age, and so the Voice Party is also an opera, and I put myself not because I think I'm an amazing singer or anything like that at the centre of it, because I wanted because I wanted to go for the general election in 2019 as an opera, so the whole election became an opera, but not in a sort of ghastly kind of Dow kind of way, which I think is not which is slightly exploitative, in fact. But this is kind of like really, and it was amazing because Nadine, I met so many great people, amazing. Like just on the doorstepping and going around Hackney. I was standing Hackney North and Stoke Newington, and just meeting the Londoners. I thought, wow, I thought this is a great city. If all the people in the city are like this, that's a great city.
Oh wow! Marjorie Ouvry is saying, "Wow, what a fascinating concept! Everything always connects."
Absolutely. Right on, Marjorie. That's totally, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And if anybody does have any questions for Loré around this, please do put them in the chat, because she's very open to, if she can, answer them. You know, absolutely. So where does Voice Party go next? That's quite. So I love the three. I'm very much into threes myself.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
I just believe that there's a power in that number.
Yeah.
But you know, in terms of your own self-development in that, where are you hoping to grow into in terms of that?
Well, it's very much I kind of started it in Germany, in fact, in Berlin, and this is the first British election that the Voice Party took part in. So I want to grow the Voice Party so that, and even be elected out as leader, because I mean, you know, I don't like. I'm kind of irrelevant in a way, but it's the concept that I think is really strong, which is that this idea of music being ruled by music, and that music guides us. Because I think if you look at the rules of music, I mean, the art of fugue for one, and like lots of different things, and just even the purity of the harmonic system. And you've got all kinds of really incredible things, and also this thing of I mean, we had some quite tag words that sort of achieved not great things in this country, and I wanted to create taglines that might create better things. So things like create, don't consume. And it's kind of a borrowing from the Green Party, but the Green Party I think has a lot going for it.
So, yes. So like I love the other one as well. Be a creator, not a competitor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's that. But there's also those ones as well, which is really, 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 really interesting. So in terms of like, I don't know. So in terms of projects, you have also been doing things a bit ambidextrous, as I say.
Yeah.
With sing interviews. What are they?
Oh God, the sing interviews. Yeah. Wow. I don't. Well, so this is kind of I mean, in a way, it's sort of like it kind of. the Sing-to-Views comes from a show called Panic Room, the Sing-to-Views, the end of civilization as we know it. And it imagines the end of the world, like the sun's turning into a red dwarf, it's exploding. So the whole solar system's kind of exploding. And I just kind of got really sad because I kind of thought, you know, because there's a lot of misanthropy going around, but actually the human beings have produced amazing, amazing things. And I kind of thought, shit, Beethoven won't exist anymore. Bach, what if these things? So I kind of thought, well, I'm going to create this imaginary capsule in which I save all the music of the world. And I put it all into this capsule, and I'm going to drive this capsule into space. And I know I'm going to die. My character's called Panic, by the way. And I take one person in the thing with me, the capsule with me, and we have this last conversation before we die about art, life, philosophy. Do you believe in God? If so, which one? You know, all that kind of thing.
30,000 definitions of God.
But I sing the questions to like I've composed some questions which are like question compositions. The Sing-to-Viewee can answer in song or in speech, doesn't matter. They can do what they like. They're totally free. And it's a show. And when I did with Bill Banks Jones, Weaver of Dreams. So I did it twice in tete-a-tete, and I put CCTV cameras all over the theatre, and so I choose a stranger from the person, because I'd sing to them over this kind of new age track, and the person that responded most would get invited to my Panic Room, and I would feed them cake and wine. Of course, it was funny at King's Place. I had to read them the ingredients on the food in case they had a reaction, which I suppose is fair enough. But, you know. Anyway, so that's what the Sing-to-Views are, and I made this TV channel, the which is more static than this. It's just like a YouTube thing, and it's little 10-minute Sing-to-Views with different people.
Oh, amazing! Because
I'd love to have done that show more live, but of course it's you know, it's difficult to get things on. I did it first at the Icon Gallery, so
it's so out of the box.
Yeah.
To someone, but you're singing to them. It's just I love it. I just when I saw that, I was just like, I was so excited, because it's not how you would see singing as, you know, as interviewing. You see talking as interviewing, but what I love, it's all about the voice.
Absolutely, you know? And it's mediated by a screen, so it gives a feeling of intimacy, and so the person forgets that the audience is watching them, and it's. So it's in a kind of a theatre, but so that's it. Yeah, but it is all about the voice, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. Now, Marjorie is asking, in terms of the voice party, what's in your manifesto for youngest children?
Every single child gets free music lessons. It's mandatory. They can have free music lessons, and there would be a lot of investment in that. And also, in addition to that, every single institution has to have a musical activity of some description or pay a massive fine, which goes to these children's music lessons. So they would be brought up with the spirit of creativity and music from the word go. And that would just be in the air, it would be in the society. And I think that they would be better, more relaxed people for it. And I think it would make an equality amongst people as well. So it wouldn't just be for the richest, it would be everybody, because it would be the society is run on these lines. That's it. So,
but it's very moving to hear that, Loré. It's like you say.
Well, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be amazing? I mean, it's like, why not? Why not?
I mean, I think about it, I didn't have the chance. Bocha says, Bocha Mourinho, who's an amazing composer. Like, if you haven't sung his work, Loré, I've got to introduce you both. He says, free, wow. Yeah, absolutely, Bocha. And Margaret Ubri is saying, fab, and all teachers trained as musicians.
Yeah, completely, because it's like we are all musicians.
Yeah,
and it would just be the musician. It would just bring the musician out of everyone. Because in addition to this, the voice party, I'd actually. Now this is the tall order, but I'd like to get rid of money completely. And in fact, I'm starting a new currency called the box coin, which is a bit of a. It's difficult to get my head around it. Because I'm having to learn bit-to-chain technology. But I'm starting a new currency, which is based on vocal gesture, not on money.
Wow.
Because money is just a way of exchanging one idea for another thing later on, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a promise of something.
Money is energy.
Exactly. It is energy.
Yeah, it's energy. And what I find really interesting about money is that in the days before, the name for money was actually talent.
No, I didn't know that.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So the name for money used to be called talent. And so it's interesting how it's attached itself to artists and creativity and energy. You know, it's very interesting. You know, and Bocha Marinho is saying music and art is a human right.
Bam! There you have it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Bocha. Yes. So tell me, I'm like, my brain is on fire now, Loré. I'm just like, what else can we do? Like, it's so exciting to hear somebody speak so freely and from the heart and so creatively, like just so out of the box, curious, just that curiosity of the child, that curiosity of play and wonder.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thank you.
But don't you think? I'm sure you find that everyone has curiosity and wonder that somehow gets at some point.
Yes, and absolutely. And sometimes it's stamped on because of money. Sometimes it's stamped on because of ego. Sometimes it's stamped on because there's no support. But what you're talking about seems like an energetic collective from heart to heart and mind to mind.
Yeah.
I can see it kind of, I know I'm going to sound like, but I really see it like being a telepathic kind of connection, and that you could be standing across from somebody else and you would know how they wanted to respond to you in an art piece, and, you'd be talking to each other that way.
Exactly.
Just, so exciting. So tell us, what tips could we have for, somebody who, wanted to go into kind of contemporary and this curiosity and this kind of, like making music the center of their political world. How could we do that?
Well, I mean, my tips are quite general. And I suppose in reaction to that question, I'd say I'll put one of the tips first, which is never compete because you'll have to conform. And this conformity is a big problem because it's something that really, on the one hand, it makes the wheels of society go, but on the other hand, it stops creativity. And this thing of where is the crack? What's not happening that needs to be happening? So creativity, like water, finding the cracks.
Yes.
I don't see weeds. I see salad.
You don't see
weeds.
Yeah.
I see salad.
I love it.
To sum that one up.
Yes, absolutely.
And then another one, which is sorry, I can hear my voice. But I'll try and ignore it. I've come across quite a lot of sexism in my time. And now the new biggie, which is ageism. So there is a real kind of thing around ageism, and it seems to be like the last taboo. So I would say there are two generations. There is dead and there is alive, because we're always kind of being told something's too late to do something. And you've got you have the geniuses like Jimi Hendrix, who come into the earth fully formed. They just kind of come out of the womb and they kind of play the guitar and they're brilliant and right, bam, from the word go. But then he died sadly extremely young. So we don't know what he would have gone on to do, but he became fully formed. Then you've got your grand masters, Rembrandt, who did his best work in his 80s. So there are two generations, dead and alive. All the while you're in the alive generation, you can do something. You can create, you can change the world, you can follow your dream, you can do what you like. So that's
love it, Loré. Love that.
And
it's
then
so I believe as well. So because I always say as a coach, you know, that every morning that we get up, we're either choosing to live or choosing to die.
Yeah.
And I don't mind physically. I mean, the inner world of ourselves. We can choose to be alive or we can choose to be dead, and we do make that choice, whether it's unconsciously or whether or not. But that's why we have people in the world to help us move forward in that. And this is why music and art is one of those things that is so important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so important.
And doesn't have any of these prejudices either.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
You know,
yes.
It's a law of nature. It doesn't have prejudice. It just is. It's kind of a beautiful thing. So.
Yeah. And what would be your third tip?
So the third tip is follow your own path and passions. Don't look at someone else's path thinking you ought to be doing that. Follow your own path, find your own passion, because if you do that, and whatever you do, even if it's like being a brilliant barista or being a composer or, I don't know, like a tree surgeon, it's going to enrich you and it's going to enrich the people around you if you do whatever it is you do to your highest capability. And develop it into an art, and that everything has equal merit. So that's the third one. That's really important to bear in mind. Because I think especially now, because I was doing some mentoring with younger people, and there's this real thing around social media, making people feel very bad about what they're doing and feeling they're not keeping up and blah blah blah, and it really deflects the attention away from your own thing. And I think it's really important to always keep a coherence and keep your own path.
Yeah. I mean, because you were saying that we've got somebody who's very great at that, and that's Nigel Osborn.
Yes, yeah. I mean, he's been such an inspiration. I mean, unbelievable. That's right. And because he's, as we all know, he's like a fabulous composer, but he's also a humanitarian. And now he's done this app for the NHS, which is helping people with trauma and also with COVID recovering. And it's now available on the NHS, I believe. I had a quick look at it. But the point is that he is a musician, but because he's really honed that art, that skill, and he's brought it to so many different ways of being, like he's totally used it to make everything better around him. Yeah. I mean, it's incredible, and that it was a real kind of, when I met him, I was like, brilliant. This is. I want to be like Nigel, but I don't want his beard. At least not on my face. Sorry. What am I saying? I do want it.
Yeah, but it's really, it's what I'm really feeling, and what I'm feeling moved about this morning is this sense of being limitless.
Yeah.
You know, but being limitless in a way that connects, that transcends, that integrates, that, you know, recreates, generates, you know. I just really get that from you this morning, Loré, and it really shows me, you know, the many levels to the absolutely phenomenal performer and artist and creator and producer and everything that you are.
Oh.
I just think it's a wonder, and you know, you don't get many people talking in this way. You don't get many people who, you know, who have the courage to, you know, to, as you say, not want to conform, you know, and so it's just wonderful. Thank you so much. Isabel is saying, what a great way to start the week.
Oh, hi, Isabel. Thank you.
You know, with your amazingness. So tell us, how can we find you?
I've got a website which is on the wix.com. I also update things on Facebook and Twitter, and through those three things, I would say.
So if I can, I'll just put them in the comments section where people can find
exactly. And also, I'm going to use this lockdown to actually get a mailing list together, which I've never done in my life. Can you believe that?
Make sure I'm on it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, make sure I'm on that mailing list. So yeah, tomorrow, everybody, I'm going to have Sani, who is the founder of Gafka Arts, which is the first Samoan arts organisation that we have. So he's going to come and talk about the organisation and the fabulous work that they do tomorrow. And I'm really looking forward to having him on, because he is just this great bundle of energy with lots of new and wonderful ideas. So yeah, if you can join us tomorrow for that. So Loré, before we leave, I mean, tell us, what would be your final thoughts on anything? It just, you know, we're a wonder, we're at your feet.
Oh my God. I would say any sentence you're going to speak, try singing it. I would say any sentence you're trying to speak, don't speak it, do it in extended vocals. So I would say, Nadine, it's been such a pleasure to speak to you this morning and have a cup of coffee. And that's it. That's it.
And I would say, lovely.
Yeah, that's it.
I love it. This is like, I feel like I'm in a cross between alien world and I don't know if you remember, but when I was little, we used to have this thing that we would go, Ivigif, Yivigif, Fuvagal, Wavagal, Wavagav, Divigu, Vivigin, Avagav, Wavagal, Wawan, Yuvigu, Tivigu, Sevagay, Divigis, Ivigis, Havagivigis.
Wow.
You never did that before when you were younger.
Oh, that's fantastic.
We used to do that so people wouldn't understand what we were saying, but we would understand it. We understood that language.
It's brilliant.
Brilliant. So Carol Elphick is saying, inspirational, Loré. Thank you.
Oh, Carol. Oh, my God. School teacher. That's the amazing Carol Elphick.
Oh, I love it.
That is a brilliant woman.
Oh, Carol, thank you.
Carol for Prime Minister.
Thank you so much for bringing this wonderful lady and inspiring this wonderful lady. I have a teacher like that as well. Her name is Judy Lake. Teachers are so important. I just find a way to give teachers prizes, like, because every person that has been on these interviews has told me that what the teachers have done for them. I just wish that we could have like a teacher thing. I don't know what to do about that. I have to think about it.
Yeah, I think it'd be really good. Yeah, get them all together.
Teachers awards, like, I don't know, it's just like, but really ambidextrous teachers. I don't know, like, I have to think about it. And Claire says, Claire Pendleton Holy says, morning, Loré, fantastic interview.
Yeah.
Claire says, love it, joy. Elaine Hayward says, brilliant, Loré. And Susan Pentland says, thank you, ladies, very interesting, say so both. Thank you all for being here. Loré, most of all, thank you for just bringing such wonder into our morning. It's just fantastic.
Thanks for the invite, Nadine. It's been lovely.
Not at all. And if you want to get creative with Loré, I'm going to put her stuff in the comment section. Contact her, find out what this voice party, and if you want to be involved, I think I want to be involved. I'm
brilliant
right now. So and just with the wonderful people that are already involved as well. We celebrate you, Loré. Thank you so much for always showing this way to jump in and to just discover and stay open and stay free, but also in that to use your craft to be excellent and exacting.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, that's the other thing I've noticed about you. You can go, woo, you know, like, but at the same time, you've always got this thing that's very exacting, very respecting of the timing of the works and of the composers, and of the words that are said. So I appreciate that, because I've learned from you from watching that and knowing that has to get better and better all the time. So thank you. Now Marjorie is saying, no, not competition for teachers, just appropriate training. I hear you, Marjorie. Marjorie, we should talk. Let's see. Maybe let's all talk.
We should talk to Carol.
Talk to Carol, Marjorie. We'll make it happen.
Very.
We'll link you all. Okay, see you later, everybody. Take care.
Bye.